Alright guys, my name is Goblin. Today we're going to be taking a little look at the Shadowlands pre-patch on Retail World of Warcraft. I'm mainly doing this since so many people are asking whether I've checked out the pre-patch, you know, whether I'm going to play Shadowlands, so there's obviously some interest in this topic, so that's why I'm making this video today. If you're watching this video, you don't even know anything about me because it's the first time you're seeing my channel, just a little bit of info about me. I mainly play Classic WoW. I've never really played, well I have played retail but not exactly recently in any shape or form. So really I am a total scrub when it comes to retail because I haven't played properly since Mr. Pandaria, in all honesty. So anyway, let's jump in and press that play button. Anyway, so level 120 characters are now 50. Lower level characters have been reduced proportionally. Okay, this will be interesting. Your graphics card drivers are out of date. Please check. Okay, I'll probably have to do this very quickly. Alright guys, I'm back. Graphics card had a little bit of a meltdown due to not updating it. I haven't updated it honestly because I'm a granddad and play really old games like Classic WoW, Lord of the Rings, Battlefield Middle-earth 2, Oblivion, Skyrim. Like, I'm still playing loads of old games, so yeah, my graphics card really did struggle to play something modern for a change. But anyway, as you can see, all of my characters are very low level, which is very strange. I did hear something about this happening, that there was going to be some kind of level switch, which is actually a welcome change. When I heard about it, I did think, actually, that's quite a good idea, because when you look at a guy who's like 120 million, it looks a bit stupid. It was the same with Legion when all the numbers are extremely high and you're doing like 1 million damage in one heroic strike. You know, actually, if I got removed from the game, that's the Classic WoW player talking right there. But anyway, like, you're doing 1 million damage with one hit, and it was just very ridiculous, stupid, and just difficult to just kind of like keep track of, really. And yeah, I think the kind of level squish and, you know, damage squish is definitely a welcome change. So by the looks of it, guys, the majority of the content that's actually been added in this pre-patch is actually when you make a new character. So, oh my days. Well, that was the understatement of a year. Christ, what is going on here with this character screen? Is that hopefully that music, that sound effect isn't too loud. I'm going to quickly check that. I should have my sound turned down. Yeah, so that should be fine. But Christ, this is different. Where do I even start here? Can I make two factions on the same realm? I think I can. I guess for the sake of the video, we'll have to make a horde. But wow, why is this dude bald? Now this is definitely a vastly improved character creation menu, especially when you compare it to Classic WoW. This is a lot more exciting. The animation is a little bit annoying. I think I wish they were a little bit shorter, but I don't know. Actually, they are kind of growing on me. Right, I've decided on making a blood elf who, for some reason, can be African American. With a ginger African American person, which is strange. I guess like they're just adding literally anything possible with all the customization options. I'll make him a bit more like tanned, like Mediterranean. Whoa, that's like undead. You can basically make an undead blood elf now. That's crazy. I'm gonna make an undead blood elf. That looks cool. Just make a random face. Is there any like new hair colours? I think everything just looks like so much higher resolution. This is definitely why my graphics card struggled to run this game. This looks like a new hairstyle too, so it looks like there's added a few new hairstyles and facial hairstyles, which is pretty cool. You can even change the ears. Wow, that's pretty cool. And you can change your eye colour. Christ. Can I change it to be red? I mean, everyone likes red eyes. YouTube. Surprised that wasn't taken. Wow, so you can actually choose your starting area. I mean, I've done Sunstrider Isle about 1,000,000 times, and I'm guessing this is the new zone that you can start on, so I definitely should check this one out. Okay. You still get the goofy low-res Blood Elf starter armor, which is surprising. I thought they would at least change that. Right, let's jump in. Let's see what this new Exile's Isle is all about. My first impressions of this, I like it. I like it straight away. So one of the limitations of classic WoW, when you jump into the game, is not very story driven. You don't really really understand what's going on with the story unless you take the effort to actually read the quest text. This is telling you what's going on, this and that, straight away. You understand everything, what's going on, and it's definitely, in a weird way, I'm actually starting to be convinced that this is more immersive than classic WoW, because we're getting immersed and we're getting invested in a story, straight away, which is actually quite impressive. Wow, this is actually really impressive. I am actually quite impressed by this menuing and how this is so good for new players coming into the game. Okay, let's read this a little bit. Okay, that's interesting. So we're warming up on a target combat. We're going to quickly disable flux. Okay, so here we are. We're targeting the training dummy and we're using steady shot. Wow, the animation looks amazing. I have to admit, the animation is auto shot already there? Can I spam this as many times as I wonder if clipping your auto shot is actually a thing on retail. Okay, we've got an arrow. That's weird. I don't have any add-ons installed. Okay, LUI errors, that's weird. But anyway, right, so I guess I gotta kill this guy. I really like the animation on steady shot. I don't like how automatically it's been put. Oh, it's not automatically being put onto the bar, so that's okay. So this tutorial is actually extremely impressive. I actually thought I was going to run into this and absolutely be constantly criticising the game, but this is actually definitely impressing me. It's very difficult for me to be impressed by retail World of Warcraft as well. It seems like everything is very well voice acted. Already I can see some stupid Tauren decked out in heirlooms. Okay, so instantly we're getting the old school grindy style of questing, which I don't really find to be that much of an issue. But let's have a look. Okay, so now I'm a little bit worried. Why did that mob literally die in 2 hits? I don't even have heirlooms on. What? Yeah, so that's a bit of a concern. I don't understand why the mobs would just die so quickly. Where is the challenge in that? I'm literally pressing 2 buttons and the mob is dying. That is a bit disappointing. I mean, fair enough, this is the tutorial. Hopefully the difficulty will pick up as we, go on a little bit more. But I do think that those mobs should take a little bit more should be a little bit more difficult to kill. Like there should actually be some genuine threat to killing those mobs in the tutorial. Looks like I've got a follower with me as well. It is actually pretty cool when you get a follower, and it looks like so the scripting on the escort quests or whatever we're doing right now is definitely much better than it is in classic WoW. Escorts in classic WoW and for a very long time on before now were just absolute idiots, right, and just get themselves killed. It looks like the follower system has been drastically improved, which is good. Okay, I've just discovered something interesting here. I can increase my bag space by getting a Blizzard Authenticator, free to easy option service that provides your account from intruders. Okay, I haven't set this up yet. I should definitely set this up because it's very easy to do these days. You don't actually have to buy something separate. You can just do it on your phone. And you get 4 extra backspaces. This is really cool. It's an incentive to secure your account. That's actually, yeah, I'm also quite impressed by that. But anyway, let's move on. It looks like on the map there's some treasure here, so I'm going to have to take a little look at this. This reminds me a lot about what do you call it, Walls of Draenor questing that had like treasures around the map that give you experience and stuff. Let's have a look. Okay, you do get a little bit of experience. That's pretty cool. I don't understand why it's on the map though. I'd rather it wouldn't be on the map. I'd rather you get rewarded for exploration rather, again, like the whole system being handheld to you, and then maybe like playing something like a dwarf would have, you know, the treasure finding racial, which would make things better for, you know, that flavoursome kind of lore related racial, which was pretty good in classic WoW. But yeah, so it just looks like you can just find treasure chests all around the map without really much effort involved when it comes to your own exploration, which is not great. The system itself is pretty good, like the fact that you can get treasure and get rewarded XP and loot. Okay, so despite the fact that these quests are, you know, your typical go and kill boars, get meat, and then turn them in classic WoW you just turn them in and then not much else really happens. What's happening here is we're getting voice acting, and we're getting a little bit, not a hugely complicated story, but we're getting a little bit of a story and a little bit of an understanding of what the hell is actually going on in this zone. And I definitely feel more invested. If I was paying more attention, I wasn't recording a video, I'd definitely feel much more invested within these characters. So for instance, I think if this character died right now, I definitely would be a little bit upset, particularly if I was paying more attention. Yeah, I'm just generally feeling more and more invested into, you know, the whole experience as a whole. But anyway, let's move on. What's cool is here, I'm getting voice acting just there, like out of the blue. It's way more immersive in cinema. I am. This is definitely growing on me. Oh, okay. Now this is pretty cool. So basically, now I'm getting a very class-specific quest to tame a beast, and I can tame any beast I want. Don't move while it casts. That was much easier than it is in classic. Nice. I've got a hawk. I do have to say the modelling on the hawk is very, very impressive too. I thought the character models were impressive, but even my pet looks really, really sharp and really clean. Okay, like I'm trying to enjoy my questing experience here, and then some dude turns up on a chopper covered in heirlooms. That's a bit cringe. So another thing I'm liking so far is all of these characters here are like characters that I've saved. And they're all we're all together on this little adventure together, and yeah, I just genuinely, again, like I said before, I do actually feel invested in some of these characters. Looks like we're even getting tutorials on individual quests. So in this quest I have to resize the boars, well, testing basically this device, and yeah, it's actually telling me to get close to the boar, which again is another great thing for new players. Okay, looks like we're getting a bit of a vertical quest here, which I've always liked, to be honest. To kill loads of zombies, which is pretty cool. I have to admit, as retail has grown more and more, the questing has definitely improved when it comes to just being more fun, well, just generally more fun and interesting, especially with like vehicle controlled objectives, which really started to become a thing a little bit in the Burning Crusade, but mostly in Wrath of the Lich King. Looks like we're getting another boss. Let's have a look, see how this turns out. See if this one is a little bit more difficult. Okay, so his health pool is definitely bigger, but I am pretty much just killing him in fairly easily. Not really putting that much pressure on me, but I guess, again, this is more for new players, so... I have to say those mouth animations are definitely a bit ski with. I like how my character's integrated into it as well though.
Before the ogres can complete them.
He seriously need to work on those mouth animations. It does have to be said. It looks like I've got another new spell. I feel like I'm gaining spells a little bit too quickly. In honesty, I'm level 6 and I've gained many of my abilities. I think if this was about... This cave definitely has an atmosphere. When I'm looking at just the overall artwork, the design of this cave, and comparing it to classic WoW, I have to admit it has drastically improved. Look at all these cobwebs coming off the walls. The spiders just chilling here as a bit of scenery that aren't actually mobs that you can kill. I'm guessing they're like dead or something like that. I guess we'll find out what all that's about pretty soon. It looks like we're being ambushed by spiders. This is pretty cool. Like, if you've just been ambushed by spiders, that was actually genuinely a little bit surprising. But again, like, I wish the mobs were just, like, the combat was a little bit more challenging than that. Like, I really wish I'd actually genuinely struggled to the point where I've actually died on my character now. Everything is just proving a little bit way too easy, though, in my opinion. And what I like about this is I'm not having to go back and forth to a quest hub. Right, I'm just slowly progressing through this little bit of an adventure through this cave. It's story driven, there's voice acting, and there's even a little mini boss fight at the end. This is genuinely, like I've said before, very, very impressive. Hopefully this boss fight will actually be somewhat difficult. But again, I think I'm just killing the mobs way too easily, even without heirlooms on, which is a shame. I have found out actually that heirlooms these days do not grant bonus experience, which is definitely a welcome change. It looks like I have to jump on this druid. I mean, the only downside to this is the questing is very linear, but honestly I don't think that's much of an issue. I don't think it's much of an issue that the questing is linear, because the questing itself is just so good. The questing is drastically better than classic WoW. The only downside to this is the gameplay itself. The gameplay is too easy, but the questing and the general experience of the story and how it really immerses you into the world so far is actually surprisingly better. If anything, it's definitely more exciting. Like, I just escaped a collapsing cave on the back of a druid's stag form. I mean, that stuff is pretty cool. There's way more action, way more excitement to everything that's going on here compared to classic WoW, where everything just, honestly, in comparison, feels extremely bland and boring. Because, you know, you just go and collect quests over and over again. You don't really understand what's going on. And I did just say that the only issue is that the questing has become linear. That's actually wrong, because I did actually have two options of two different quests to do. I just thought it was going to be linear. I could have done this one first, but I'm doing this one second. So there is actually choices on what paths you can take when it comes to the questing, which is definitely a positive too. What I've also noticed is in the background the Vanilla Tristful Glades soundtrack is playing, and that is quite a charm. I'm not gonna lie, I do like that. Okay, what's interesting here is even the enemies are voice acted. This harpy, I'll kill another one, maybe I can show it, but it's basically, they have even the minor mobs, which you just grind away at, even these are voice acted. So, let's see. Well, yeah, when you kill them, they actually, they have a little bit of a voice line. Okay, now I'm having a bit more of a boss battle. And this is genuinely challenging. I think I've just absolutely messed it up by pressing disengage there, but I am actually having to avoid mechanics, and this is just a quest mob, and I'm level, what, 7? And I'm getting, like, this is more mechanics than Molten Core put together. Right? And I'm only, like, level 7 killing, like, doing a simple quest. Right, so there's an optional quest here to kill some kind of boss, and it says suggested players free. I wasn't with the belief that they totally removed group quests. Is this guy AFK? Okay, he's all AFK, but this might actually be genuinely much more challenged, so let's have a little go at doing this. So this is almost like a miniature boss room in the open world. It's practically a world boss. He has 700 health. That could be concerning. Let's have a look how what happens. I'm going to try to do as much damage as possible. I'm imagining I'm going to pull aggro. But I think I can just kite him. Just going for a wing clip. Oh, I don't have focus for a wing clip. Okay, this might make things much easier. So this is actually a little bit more challenging than any of the other mobs I've encountered. So this kind of redeems the fact that all the other mobs are challenging, the fact that you have these little optional quests to go and defeat more difficult enemies. That was actually generally, I'm obviously like I've played Hunter a lot, so that was pretty easy for me, but like I would say for a new player that would definitely be actually quite a bit of a challenge that you may actually need a little bit of help with, so it would encourage you to actually group up with someone else. So that again is definitely another massive positive. Okay, now it looks like I've been transformed into an ogre for yet another story focused and cool quest. So let's see how this one turns out. This is quite interesting. To complete this quest I actually have to type in a emote to wave, and then the quest automatically progresses to the next step. Quests feel much longer because like when you progress certain quests it's almost like it automatically turns in the quest and progresses the quest, which is another cool thing I like. It feels more like you're playing like Skyrim or something, where quests just naturally progress into the next steps rather than you having to go back and forth fetching, you know, and getting quests. Okay, so I completed this quest. I've released this guy, and now I actually have to queue for a dungeon. I'm wondering if this is going to be a single man dungeon, but looks like we've added a new low level dungeon. No, I do actually have to wait for other people. You'll need 3 people by the looks of it. You can join with 3 DPS. Now, as much as I don't like the dungeon finder, I think this kind of makes it much less bad, because actually being encouraged to do group content at the end of a quest line is actually pretty good. I mean, I've been talking about this for years. Like, I always think that zones should naturally progress into dungeons just like they do in classic WoW, and to be honest, they have done throughout the majority of World of Warcraft, to be honest. But I like how this is actually making me queue into the dungeon. What is very unsurprising about joining this group is nobody has said anything. Nobody said hi. Everyone is just trying to get through the content as fast as humanly possible, and it doesn't really look like it's presenting too much of a challenge, although it may be too soon to say. The least health I've seen someone at right now is about, you know, well, about 50%. With 3 DPS, is he going to lose too much health to the point where he's going to die? Doesn't really look like it. I do actually have a tank in the group, and it looks like the rogue is taking aggro off the tank, which is interesting. No, that wasn't very difficult at all. Okay, looks like we're in the last boss room, which is really cool. This is very cinematic. It does look exactly like that first raid from Walls of Draenor, but yeah, this is still pretty cool. Looks like there's an undead dragon down there. Maybe that will turn into something. Maybe there'll be a secret last boss, and this won't actually be the last boss. I have to admit, this is really cool. It's a shame that this really isn't that difficult, because I think what's happening here is the NPCs are actually tanking the boss, and we're just doing so much damage, partly because these 2 guys are in heirlooms, which again is a massive issue. I didn't get any loot at all. What I do like about that dungeon at the end is that, again, it introduces new players to the dungeon finder, and just everything about it. So what's this? You will not be able to return to Exile's Reach. Are you ready to continue to adventure in World of Azeroth? So this is basically a little bit similar to Tutorial Island in RuneScape. You cannot come back here, which is fair enough. But I will make my conclusions later. It looks like we are going to fly to Orgrimmar, and then from there we'll see what happens to the leveling experience, what paths that we can go on, and then again maybe I can make an episode 2 going on that path, because obviously this video is probably way too long now. So we're getting a Horde cinematic introduction too.
It is here that its citizens gather to barter goods and muster their...
So what this essentially is I've gained a little bit of a tutorial on how to basically get a mount. As you can see now I'm on a mount. You get a mount at level 10, which is quite favourable. It is irritating having to walk around everywhere. And now what I'm going to do is go to a trainer. I'm guessing this area is the class hall, where I will learn a little bit more about my class. So again, this is a really great thing for new players to learn more and more about the game and make the game much more accessible. So here I have the option to skip the city tour and choose a time walking campaign, which I'm going to do just to see what it is. Speak with Chromie in Orgrimmar. So right there you can automatically sync into the Battle for Azeroth, you know, leveling zones, go through the Battle for Azeroth zones and just kind of progress through that and enjoy the story of Battle for Azeroth. Or, as you can see, it looks like the other option is to take a time walking campaign, which I'm going to have a little look at now. Right, so let's have a little look here. Here's Chromie on some big hourglass. Okay, cool. So now, journey back to your favourite story and tackle challenges from the past that scale for characters level 10 to 50. Pick a campaign and get to adventuring. So what I believe, from what I've heard, is you can pick any expansion's like leveling experience, and that will get you from 10 to 50. Let's have a look at Cataclysm. Actually, it's one of the zones I've not done for a while. Let's see what happens. I'm guessing this may lead me to one of the Cataclysm zones, because the War Chief boards were added in Cataclysm, I believe. They may have been added later, but let's have a look. So here is the board, and I can choose Southern Barrens. Okay, this is interesting. So wait, I'm a little bit confused here. This seems like the Cataclysm zone. This one seems like another Cataclysm zone, because these two zones are revamped. But then we have Outland here, so why do we have Outland here as well? This is all a little bit confusing, but I guess I'll select this one. Right, so by the looks of it, I'm in Southern Barrens, and I've actually done the Southern Barrens questline before, and it is pretty good. It seems like what they're doing with this system is directing you to the best zones with the best questlines, and from what I can understand, it will take you like a good 12 hours to actually progress through all of the Cataclysm zones and all those quests and all of that story. So basically, you're getting like a much more systematic and clean, refined leveling experience from this new system, where everything is obviously more voice acted, more storyline focused, and just honestly 10 times better than the classic WoW leveling experience. And honestly, I can't believe I'm actually saying that, but the questing is definitely much better on retail. When it comes to gameplay, probably not so much. Maybe if I played a little bit longer, the mobs would actually become more challenging to kill, but I think that is one of the massive downsides, that the heirlooms really trivialise the leveling experience and make it much more of a boring grind. Whereas like if the leveling experience on retail was genuinely challenging and the mobs were difficult to kill, then, well, at least there was at least a level of challenge like you would expect of a amount of challenge that you get from playing classic WoW. If you combined both of those things, it would be just a perfect leveling experience, in my opinion, because then it would actually encourage you to group up with your friends, because it would actually be more difficult. Whereas unfortunately at the moment, one of the downsides of this thing, as much as I like it, it does feel much more of a single player experience. Maybe, you know, if I played it more, there would be more opportunity for group quests and dungeons and things like that, but again, the Dungeon Finder isn't really true multiplayer experience, because you just get automatically matched with people you don't really know. And I think it honestly is good. It is good. These are my final thoughts. Basically, it is really good. I am genuinely very, very impressed, but it still just kind of feels more like a single player experience, and that is one of the downsides in my opinion. It just feels like it just feels like honestly I'm playing more of a single player game. If they combined the kind of multiplayer aspects of classic WoW and the difficulty of a gameplay with this system, with all the story focused quests, the voice acting, the little mini cinematics, it would be probably one of the best leveling experiences that you can ever get from an MMO, in my humble opinion. But anyway, I think that's where I'm definitely going to end the video there, because I've definitely talked long enough. My name is Goblin. To my next video. Ciao.